Hi everybody. Today we're going to review some things with decimals and then we're going to look at one new thing. So to start out, we're going to review how to write a decimal from a model. So I'm going to look at this model and remember there's 100 squares here. And to start out, I'm going to look and see how many tenths I have. So since I've got these two columns, I've got 2 tenths. Since I don't have any completely filled in squares or as the whole square, I'm going to go ahead and put a 0 as my whole number, and then I'm going to put a 2 in the tenths place, and then I'm going to count how many individual hundreds I have. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 individual hundreds, and then I divided this hundredth here into 10 parts, and I have 9 of those shaded. So that one's kind of hard to see, but that's going to be 9 thousandths. So a 9 goes in the thousandths place. So I would read this as 259 thousandths. So I can write that as a fraction. You know, since thousandths was my last place value, it would be 259 over 1,000. And then if I write that in word form, you know, I would read it like I would if there were not a decimal point, and I would just say 200 and then 59, and because my last place value is in the thousandths, I say 259 thousandths. Alright, so then I'm going to write it in expanded form. So that's, you know, looking at each place value. So I have a 2 in the tenths place. So I'm going to say 2 times 1/10. I have a 5 in the hundredths place. So 5 times 100. And then I've got a 9 in the thousandths place. So 9 times 1,000. So that's how I divide it up based on our place value and write it in expanded form. Now each of these fractions could also be written as a decimal, so you may see it that way at times too. And then we've also talked about rounding. And so right now the mystery word of the day is going to be Lucy. So Lucy is the mystery word, and now we'll get back to the rounding. So we're going to round it to the tenths place. So our number is 259 thousandths. So since I'm rounding to the tenths place, I'm going to underline the digit in the tenths place. The number beside it is 5 or more, so that makes the number in the tenths place go up to a 3. So now I've got 3 tenths. Then if I round it to the hundredths place, now I'm going to look at the 5. The 5 is in the hundredths place. Remember, it's always tenths, hundredths, and then thousandths. So the number beside it is 5 or more, so it's going to also round up. So it would be 26 hundredths. So 26 hundredths when we're rounding to the hundredths place. Alright, and then for our new thing, we're going to look at adding decimals. So if we look at this example here, this is actually an incorrect problem. So before we go on, I want you to see if you can tell me what's wrong with this problem. So you can pause the video and fill in your answer on what's wrong with this problem. And once you've done that, then you can see if you got the same thing that I get. So I notice, you know, whenever I'm adding, I need to add like place values. So here I've got a 7 in the tenths place, and then here I've got a 6 in the hundredths place. So if I add these two together, I'm not adding like place values. So I need to rewrite this so that I'm adding the like place values. So I've got 38 and 7/10. So I need to line up the 9 with the ones place. And then I'm going to put the 4 lined up with the tenths place. And then the 6 will be with the hundredths. And since I don't have anything in the hundredths place here, I can put a 0 because I know that 7/10 would be the same thing as 70 hundredths. So now I've got like place values, I've got everything lined up, so now I can go ahead and add. So that gives me, or I'm not sure why I did that, because we don't have to carry since we've got 6. So now I've got 7 plus 4 is 11, so I'm going to carry my 1. Then I'm going to just go ahead and bring my decimal point straight down. That gives me 17 plus 1 is 18, carry the 1. So now I've got 48 and 1600ths. So there's a big difference in these. So remember, it's important to add like place values. So we need to line up the like place values when adding. If you have any questions, let me know.